Good morning. Welcome to Unity Orlando. Our opening statement this morning is I am thankful for my life and grateful to receive all the good God has for me. Let's all affirm that together. I am thankful for my life and grateful to receive all the good God has for me. All right, let's all close our eyes, take a nice deep breath in, and let's affirm that together in the silence. And so it is. And now, if you'd like to stand, we'll sing our joy song this morning. It's a classic from the 1500s. It's called We Gather Together. We gather together to ask the Lord's blessing in silence and service. His will is now done, His word ever stressing, His wonder expressing, in praises to the Father. We know we are one. Within us abiding, our God ever guiding, ordained and maintained your true kingdom divine, as from the beginning the prizes we are winning. Oh, light, reveal the day, oh, love in us all. We come to sing praises with glad alleluias, and know that in giving our blessing shall be. Let this congregation proclaim the new creation. In spirit we are one, in Christ we are free. All right, thank you very much. You may be seated.
Good morning, Unity Orlando. How is everybody today? Welcome. I'm Susan Francis. I'm your platform speaker today. Wasn't that just a rousing song? From the 1500s. Amazing. Anyway, do we have any visitors here? I don't think so. We're all family. Welcome online as well. For those online, downloadable notes of today's lesson are on the services page of the Unity Orlando website. So just tap on the place that says Lesson Notes picture. Thanksgiving Eve service is this Wednesday, November 23rd at 7 p.m. So join us for a special time in preparation for Thanksgiving. Also, the Christmas party is Sunday, December 4th, following the 11 o'clock service. There's a flyer on our website and also in the back foyer. Midweek prayer and meditation with Reverend Ronnie and myself is on Facebook the first and third Wednesdays at 4:30. And we just had one this past Wednesday, and it's posted and left on Facebook, but also posted to our website. Navigating A Course in Miracles with Reverend Ronnie and Paul Kenny meet by Zoom each Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. If you're interested in attending, you can email Ronnie so she can send you a link, and her email address is on the website. So if you've never come and are interested, you still can join. The Unity Men's Group meets at 4 p.m. every Wednesday at Starbucks on the corner of 436 and Howell Branch Road in Winter Park. And also they meet on the third Sunday of each month in the Courtyard Classroom. And also our chaplains pray with you pray every evening at 8 p.m. and they invite you to join us. So I set a timer, maybe set a timer on your phone, and just no matter what you're doing, just take a few moments and think and pray with us. This month, the affirmation is I am thankful, which is perfect for Thanksgiving. Also, we are available to pray with you after service. I'm a prayer chaplain. Right now, I'm the only one for this service, but of course, available after service for that. Also, Reverend Bob's lesson this morning is we gather together. But of course, before I turn it over to Brian, I have one little story to tell you. So it's a little story, a little bit before the 1500s. It's about Adam and Eve. And after having children, Adam and Eve started getting a lot of questions from their kids about why they no longer lived in Eden. And Adam had a simple answer for this. He said, "Your mother, she ate us out of house and home." And with that, I'll turn it over to Brian.
All right. Thank you, Susan. I didn't see that coming. We're going to do a song now that's slightly newer than the 1500s. I wrote it a couple years ago. It's called So Grateful. Child, I remember light come through me, breathing light into me with an all-knowing power. I get
Oh, that was wonderful. Thank you. Well, you'd never guess this is Thanksgiving weekend coming, Thanksgiving week coming up, would you? Wow. We have the old standby, and I don't know, what are we going to call it? The new hot song? The new tradition. Very good. I want to welcome you who are at home, and I want to welcome each of you who is here today. I feel like I'm just a little loud up here. No, not according to you. Okay. Fair enough. I do want to call your attention to the fact that one of our numbers has passed. Her name is Alicia Santiago. She was killed in an auto accident last Sunday night. We haven't seen much of her since COVID. She's been attending online, but she'd been here for quite a number of years. And there will be a service for her, but when she was here, she drove quite a ways. So the service is at Oak Ridge Funeral Home in Winter Haven. Service will be tomorrow, Monday, at 10 a.m., and the viewing starts at 9 a.m. We gather together, don't we, though? And that is particularly evident that we do that at Thanksgiving, right? You know, we gather with a couple of people, or sometimes 30 or 40. Those were big Thanksgivings. My favorite was always the intimate Thanksgiving with just a small family gathering. On the other hand, we spend Wednesday night kicking off Thanksgiving. And we do hope you'll be here Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock, or we broadcast, we stream, so you can join us online if you need to be home cooking or something like that. And 7 o'clock, Brian's going to be here, and I'm not sure what songs he's going to do since he's used up his best ones today. And he says, no, there's more to go. I figured today, as we prepare for Thanksgiving, due to, that gathering that we all do in some way, you either gather with people, or if you're by yourself, and I've done a Thanksgiving by myself, I wanted to try it out. So I turned down all invitations. It was still amazingly sacred to me. And it's still a time when you do not feel alone, even if physically you are. You can remember all those who have graced your life and are no longer with you. You remember all those that have been important in your life now. And you feel God's presence. And the presence, the entire thought atmosphere seems to be filled with the presence of great beings. Beings of the higher realms, and beings just like you and I who are here doing this. Thanksgiving, if you can feel what's going on in the energy of that day, you never feel alone. So today we're going to explore the power of joining in consciousness with others, merging consciousness. The early Christian church the early Christian society of that church was very communal. They shared everything. Literally, they shared everything. And more than that, they saw power in living together in group consciousness, joining together. We gather together because there's power in gathering. In Psalm 133:1, the very first verse, it says, "Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity." It's hinting at this tremendous power when people come together. There's something that happens. And so human civilization is based on groups. It's based on joining together. I realize we think it's all about competition, but that's just what we've done with it. It's really not about competition at all. It's about oneness. It's about realizing I'm not alone. There are others with me. And so Jesus took the concept of gathering together to that deeper level that is only hinted at in Psalms. He says in Matthew 18:19-20, "I say to you that if two of you are worthy on earth, anything that you ask will be done for them by my Father in heaven. For wherever two or three are gathered in my name, I am there among them." The first verse that I read is about the realization that prayer is tremendously amplified when two or more join together in holding that prayer thought. It's so much more. The second, he takes it even to a higher level by saying, if you gather in my name, I am there among you. In other words, you had Peter and John, and if they get together, they actually have Peter, John, and Jesus, right? He's not hinting, he's saying pretty directly, there is this stupendous power in merging consciousness, in remembering your oneness. When you merge consciousness, you move into that space where you know everyone is a part of you. And specifically, you know that you are one with the Master and the Master is one with you. But it takes getting out of yourself, this isolation that we all live in. It's me, it's my needs, your needs, and they're in conflict. Not really. We're part of it all. And Thanksgiving is a time when we gather together and try to remember that we're part of it all. That God is part of our lives, that we are an expression of God, that we live in the midst of God's abundance in spite of any of the appearances around us. And I know there's lots of dispute over the classic story, but let's look at it as a legend. And as a legend, the Pilgrims and the Indians sat down together. And that's an ideal we want. We want to know that we're all one. We're all part of each other. What Jesus is describing is what I'm going to call a spiritual law that says when two or more people choose to merge in consciousness, the result is more powerful than the sum of the parts. We live in a world that we believe is ruled by math, and math says 1 + 1 is 2. But spiritually, when you're talking about merging consciousness, you merge my consciousness with your consciousness, and you have 1 + 1 = 5. Okay, so much more. Saying, I'm there. And so is everyone else that you have shared your life with. They're a part of you. This is why we have prayer groups. Prayer is so much powerful when 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 get together and share the same prayer thought, the same goal, the same ideal. This is why we gather in churches. We are strengthened. We're able to go that much deeper, that much further by touching others who have this same desire for experiencing God. So we come together as churches to keep ourselves centered, to keep ourselves on the path, to support one another in reaching for the heights. This is why we have marriage. We're stronger together. It's why we have family. And it's even why we have the simple gathering of good friends. I know a lot of people who say, I really value my friends. They are my spiritual family. They are the ones who share my closest ideals. I didn't have a choice with who I grew up with. But I have a choice as to who I hang out with at the moment. And by choosing them, they became family. They became family. So, when 2 or more people choose to merge consciousness, to join together on a consciousness level, the result is more powerful than the sum of the parts. And I have a corollary to that. And it goes, the more you think of your life as a group effort, the more successful and fulfilling it will become. Group effort? Yeah, if you believe you're on your own, you are. Be it done to you according to your faith. I believe I'm on my own. It's me against the world. Good luck with that. That one's hard. But if you think, I am never alone. God is always with me. I'm a disciple of Jesus Christ, so Jesus is always hanging around there. Not even just me, there is a higher self within me that's a part of my being. I don't know whether you want to call it soul or you want to call it Christ self, whatever you want to call it. There's a higher version of yourself, an eternal version of yourself in there. It comes without all the flaws of this outer self. So as an outer self, it's phenomenally comforting to know this is a group effort. I can call upon my higher self. I can call upon the Master Jesus Christ to be with me as I walk through this that scares the tar out of me. And I can know that God is always with me wherever I go. And then add to that the fact that everyone that you ever shared the bond of love with is a part of you forever. They may not be physically walking beside you now. That would probably be physically impossible since we encounter so many people in our lives. But once you've made that connection, there's something there to draw on because you have merged consciousness in a way. And though they may have gone an entirely different path at this point, they can feel your blessing of them, and you can feel their blessing of you. You say, well, I don't think they're blessing me. Their soul is. The outer being's the only one that screws up and gets things all confused. And thank God, this outer being is not all I have to depend on for this life. The more you think of your life as a group effort, the more successful you'll be. My higher self is trying to move through what I'm doing. Jesus is walking beside me. God is right there in my heart, within me as I go through this. This is not something I do alone. And when you realize that, there's a tremendous sense of empowerment. Now, today I want to talk about two levels of merging consciousness with others. One is the physical level. We gather together physically. But that's not the only way to gather. There's non-physical gathering also. Jesus went to great lengths to point out that if you've done it in your mind, you've already done it. And as you turn your thoughts to others, you've touched them. Maybe not on a level that their outer being recognizes, though that's possible. But you've touched them. And there's something strengthening about it. So this Thanksgiving, as we gather together with whoever we gather with, or do it alone, like I did that one time, then you really depend greatly upon non-physical gathering. And you find, in the end, it's extremely fulfilling. But this Thanksgiving, as we gather together and have our group event, whether it's 2 people together or 3 or 30 or 40, think of your physical gathering as a merging of consciousness, and then reach out to all those who aren't physically there and take them in. Join with them in consciousness also. They're with you, whether you choose to recognize it or not. They are. So today I'm going to give 5 examples of merging consciousness physically and 5 examples of non-physical merging. Let's start with this physical coming together. The first way that we merge consciousness is in our main sharing life groups, marriage, family, close friends. Who is it you see every day? You are sharing consciousness with them, without a doubt. And in each case, we join with people because it makes us stronger. So that's why you marry, to merge as one. You'll find that in most marriage ceremonies, and we kind of glance over it. But that's what it means. In family, we live our lives as one. We all go different ways. That's the way it works. But there's something that draws us together. My sister and I were not terribly close. You know, we never had problems, but we were not terribly close through much of our lives. But as our parents neared the end of their lives, we began to realize that we're all each other has as family. And we each, in our own way, have tried to reach out and be there for the other one. That bond was established in the first few years of life. But it's still there. It's still there. So look at your sharing life groups, whatever you happen to be in. We all at least have close friends. And we had family, even if they've moved on. And in a moment, I'm going to suggest to you they are still available to you. They're still part of you. And in each of your groups, realize you're not just coming together physically. You're sharing consciousness. You're sharing who you are, which is really important. The second level is prayer groups. This is where we gather together, praying together for the shared goal is amazingly powerful. Okay? This is where Jesus said, where two of you are worthy on earth, anything that you will ask will be done for them. In other words, if you can come together, you say, I can't pray by myself? Absolutely. Because in the end, I'm going to suggest you're not doing it by yourself. Inside of you is your soul, Christ's self. Master Jesus Christ and God. You're never doing it by yourself. On the other hand, every time you join with another person, it is amplified. And it is actually much more than each of you bring to the joining. This plus this equals this. That's the way prayer groups work, and that's why they're so powerful. We all need someone to go through physical challenges with us because we're stronger when we can reach out to someone. Now you got to understand, a lot of my connections are on an invisible level. So I can be quite an independent person. But I never believe independence means I'm alone. Because I'll join Jesus in this one. I am never alone. For the Father is with me. And a few other dimensions of being. When you form your prayer group, you need to declare your unity of purpose. We had a group years ago that got together. And what we decided was, instead of having one leader who was extremely skilled in the spiritual process we were going through. It was a breathwork exercise that was quite involved, actually, that we would do it with group consciousness. And so the whole idea was that everyone held hands together and declared our unity of consciousness and our unity of purpose. And that God was moving through us all as a whole. And that group was amazingly powerful. I had some of my most powerful spiritual experiences there, as others did. Now, prayer groups are usually about our meeting the physical challenges of life. And if you can enlist someone else with you, and the two of you can hold the truth, not just share the agony. Prayer groups. Stretton Smith had prayer groups as a part of his prosperity program. And he said, we have to make very clear, these are not advice sessions. They are not complaint sessions. Come on, soul, kick in here once in a while. They're not complaint sessions. They're prayer sessions. We hold the truth that you are healed, you are prospered, you are loved, you are whatever it is you're praying for, that your prayers are fulfilled. And we're all holding the highest for you. That's what a true prayer group is all about. So declare your unity of purpose and hold the truth for one another. On an expanded basis, that's what we do as a church family, and that's number 3. We attend church because it strengthens us. Not because there's someone up in the ethers taking attendance. And we're not shooting for the gold star on our attendance award. We're here because it strengthens us. And our presence here strengthens others. We're here to strengthen one another on our spiritual path. That's what being a church is all about. You say, oh, I haven't attended lately, but you have if you're online. Because you are physically watching and sharing the same words. You're here, you're part of us. Whether you're online or sitting here in person. You've chosen, you've stated that this is your church home. This is the spiritual consciousness of which you are a part. You are strengthened by it, and you strengthen the church consciousness. It goes both ways. The fourth area that I want to talk about is a simple activity. It's how we conduct a thinking process. It's called brainstorming in a group. You know, often we think in life, I have to figure everything out, get a plan, and then convince everyone else to follow my plan. Whew. That's hard. When the only choices are doing it my way or your way. Because usually neither are all that good. We think they are. But in the end, where two and more are gathered together, something greater can rise within that. And the same can happen on a, quote, intellectual level. So when there's something you need to work out, you bounce it off people. It's like, what should we do here? What would you do here? What would happen? You know, et cetera, et cetera. And everybody contributes. And rarely do you get exactly what you walked into the room with unless you are a willful individual who's driving through your way. And that's not brainstorming. You walk into the room, say, well, I'd like to do this, and I'd like to do this, and they're really rather far apart when they start. And then you look at the other person's thing, and you say, well, you know, we could do this, or this, or this, or that. And in the end, every time we brainstorm, we come up with something that was better than either of us could have come up with on our own. You can do it with 2 people, or you can do it with a whole group. When you do, whether you realize it or not, you are participating in merged consciousness and the power of merged consciousness. No one's running things. You're merged. And of course, the 5th area I want to present are support groups or creativity groups. These are groups where you get together with other people who are either facing the same challenges you're facing or are involved in the same creative process that you're involved in. And you just keep sharing. And in the end, it often sparks things we cannot imagine. AA people, alcoholics, get together to support one another in leaving alcohol behind. You have spiritual groups where they get together and support one another in trying to reach the heights, trying to awaken their spiritual nature. Musicians. Some of the best music is when musicians jam. That means they just get together. They start playing together, and stuff happens that no one had planned. Am I correct on that? Oh, yeah. And I had a good friend, Fred Bogert, who was an outstanding musician, who explained to me he always liked to write together. He says musicians write together because together they get more. They're able to accomplish more. Now, I'm very proud of Brian. He writes together with his soul. He's done a few together. He usually announces it when he does. But I kept wondering, why is it that they say so-and-so wrote this together, so-and-so on these things that come across top 40, you know? It's because musicians recognize there's power in jamming and coming together and working. And it isn't just music that works in. There are creative writing groups. There are ministers get together, professions get together. All of them get together because they can merge consciousness and come back stronger. So, I've talked all about the people that you physically gather with. I now want to talk about non-physical group consciousness. And as I alluded to earlier, a lot of my support system is non-physical. Particularly if you view yourself as particularly strange and a little bit different than everyone else around you. You need to know there are others like you, even if they're not physically present. So, let's talk about experiencing the non-physical presence that allows us to experience merged consciousness with those who are not physically sitting around the table with us this Thanksgiving. First off, you can connect with people in merged consciousness while they are not there. You can connect with them. I think I alluded to this earlier. I don't care if they're deceased or living on the other side of the United States or even mad at you at the moment. You can connect with them. Years ago, during a time that I was going through a dark period in my life, I thought of a friend of mine, young woman I'd known for a number of years, and we hadn't actually dated, but we'd parted, and she's married somewhere else. And I thought, her husband's not overjoyed because we were close friends. So, I don't really want to try to drag her into this. But I need some help. I need some support right now. And I decided just to call out inside my own mind and heart. And I called out to her. And what was intriguing is, very shortly, I felt response. I could feel the connection. And no, I didn't physically have to disturb her life. On a soul level, she responded and would reach out to me. Do you know that? There are whole prayer techniques where they, you surround someone in light and love. Generally, you do it with someone who is really not responding well to you right now. And you surround them in light and love, knowing that they receive it on a level where they can accept it. Our minds, our hearts are connected, and specifically connected with those that we've shared love with in any way, shape, or form. You don't have to physically gather to join together. And where two or more are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst of them. Is that not what Jesus said? This is why the chaplains pray together. Is it 8 o'clock every night? 8 p.m. No matter where they are. They don't get together. They don't all show up in the same spot. Maybe they're out shopping and they stop for a few moments. Maybe they're at home. Wherever they are, they take a few moments at that allotted time to join together in prayer. And that creates the strength behind their prayer consciousness when they pray with others. And they call you on the phone and they say, have you got something in your life you need prayers for? So, connect with people who are not there. Think of friends and family and declare that they are part of you, that they are part of your prayers. I am not praying alone. I am including on a consciousness level those who I connect to. In all of your endeavors. They're with you while you face your challenges. And they're with you when you make your breakthroughs and your successes. Maybe not on an outer conscious level, but you're connected and you can feel it. The second level I want to talk about is awakening to your non-physical connection to your church family. When you choose to join this church, when you chose to be part of this church, you chose to give yourself to this consciousness that we share. But you also chose to be able to draw on the strength of this consciousness. And sometimes you're traveling and you're not close at hand. And sometimes you can't get into church in time. But you can reach out and just declare, I am connecting with my Unity family. And they are with me on this. You can draw on that connection, particularly when you need prayer, particularly when you're facing a challenge, when you're feeling like you're losing it in some way. Just reach out inside of yourself. Just as I called out to one person, call out to the group consciousness. We share the ideal that God is in charge of our lives. And sometimes we need a little support in knowing that. Number 3, reach out to other points of light in the thought atmosphere around you. You don't have to know the people you connect with. You just have to know they're out there. Fillmore once said, those who are changing the world consciousness are declaring words of truth and sending it out into the thought ethers. And like radio waves, these words of truth will be picked up by receptive minds everywhere. You don't know who those receptive minds are, but believe me, they're out there. There are others like you, no matter how isolated you feel. There are others like you. And in meditation, reach out and feel them. You are a point of light. There are other points of light like you. And you can sense your connection to them. It's subtle, but sometimes it's all you need. And then I'm going to talk about the higher realms. We've been talking about people so far. Well, the higher realms includes people, but it includes spiritual beings of all manner. Connect with others in the higher realms. Family and friends who've gone on, they are not lost to you. That's the message of every memorial service and funeral I do. Life goes on in a new dimension, but it goes on. But mind pervades all those dimensions. And just because someone has passed out of the physical world does not mean that they're not still available to you. They are. You're still connected. And you can reach out to them. In a sense, your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, they're still connected to you. Your whole family lineage is connected to you. And then there is your spiritual family, those friends that you have shared the deepest part of your life with, the deepest spiritual realizations. My friend Dave was my closest friend for, 25, 30 years. We sometimes wouldn't talk for long periods, and then I'd call on the phone. He wasn't much of a phone caller. I'd call on the phone. It was like we had seen each other yesterday. We'd catch up on things, but the truth is, there was no loss of connection. And when he died, there has been no loss of connection. He's still part of my life. But it's not just people who have passed on. There are spiritual teachers in the higher realms. Now, we are disciples of Jesus Christ, but that's not the only teacher you can connect with. There are more. There are angels. They function in a slightly different way than we do as human beings, but they are spiritual beings. And they're right there helping us, whether we realize it or not, most of our lives, and it's time to reach out and connect with them. The heavenly host, we can rise into the heights and celebrate the glory of life with the whole heavenly host. And then there are those great beings of light who will say nothing. But when they stand beside you, you feel their strength. They lift you with their presence, not necessarily their words. And then there's that spirit that moves through it all and loves you intensely. How could we ever think we are alone? You can be dropped off in the middle of nowhere by yourself, and you are not alone. We gather together. And if we can feel that merging of consciousness, we are tremendously strengthened. Well, I did have a fifth category, and I've kind of already said it, but here we go. The fifth category I simply call your personal spiritual team. This is the part that is inside of you all the time. Let's start with Jesus Christ. If you were a disciple of Jesus Christ, his consciousness is with you always. And then there's God, that spirit that moves through it all and loves you intensely. That's in your heart. That's where you connect to God, right inside of yourself. And then there is your soul, your higher self, the eternal you, not the one with all the opinions right now. These opinions will be useless after this 100 years is over. The part of you that has seen thousands upon thousands of years and will see thousands of thousands into the future. The part of you that lives in the earth and will live beyond the earth in so many different ways. That's the higher version of who you are, and it's right there inside of you. And this is my team. How could I ever think I will fail in this life? This is my team. Jesus Christ, God, my soul. This life is a group effort. No doubt about it. So, to conclude it, let's say the more you experience your life as a group effort, the more capable you will be to field whatever life throws at you. So, this Thanksgiving, wherever you find yourself, cherish those with which you share the holiday and take joy in the strength that you draw from your gathering. Remember those who have passed and feel their presence still with you. Remember that as you gather, who's there in the midst of you? Jesus' presence is with you, strengthening all of you. Remember, God and your own soul travel this life every step of the way with you. And realize you are a part of something greater than yourself. That takes the sting out of personal pain when you get beyond yourself. You are a part of something greater than yourself. And realizing that, simply feel gratitude. Thank you, God. Let's close our eyes. Gratitude. Thank you, God. Thank you for what? Thank you that I'm a part of it all. Thank you for everything. Just thank you, God. And feel gratitude rise in your heart. Thank you that I am never alone. That thou art always with me. Feel the support of this gathering right here. Feel the joy of merging with your Unity family. With all of us realizing we are one. We share this life together. And as you think of your Unity family, think of your prayers. And feel the united consciousness of this Unity family behind your prayers. And feel your energy supporting the others in our group. Now merge on that non-physical level and feel the love and support of the others you have shared this life with, your family and friends, all those here in the earth, and all those beyond. Each one is a part of me, and I am grateful. Turning deep within, feel the power of your soul. You're not walking through this life alone. Soul is behind you. God within your heart. Feel the presence of the teacher, Jesus Christ. Soul God, the Master, backing you as you face the challenges of this life. Now let's merge consciousness with the higher realms. Feel yourself rising right up through the top of your head into the celestial realms. We rise, and there is a celebration going on right above us. The heavenly host. Singing a song of joy that simply comes straight out of the heart. It's pure energy. The celebration of life. And join the crowd. Let us all rejoice together in the glory of life. Now rise higher. And sense the presence of those great beings of light, one on either side of you, accompanying you as you rise. Their presence supports you more than words ever could. They bring you to the threshold and urge you on across into the whole. And you are part of everything in the universe and in all universes. Swirling lights of every color, beauty indescribable. You lose your sense of self in the wholeness. I'm part of it all. And that is glorious. But it's time to descend now and resume your role in the earth. Carry the beauty of this oneness with you. As you descend, where the great beings of light escort you down. The celestial choir, the heavenly host, the celebration of life. And then back down into your life in this world. Feel that the channel higher is now open and strengthening you from every level. I am part of it all. God flows through me, and I can see the glory of life everywhere. soul to the Master Jesus Christ, to that Spirit that flows through it all. I say, you are with me always. We do this life together. And I am grateful. Thank you, God. Amen. If the usher will come forward, we'll prepare for our offering. If you're online, you probably know this by now. To give your offering, you go to the home page at the end of service and you can hit the Donate Now button if you want to use credit card or PayPal. You can pull off our address and mail us a check, or you can call the office and arrange for regular offerings if that's easier. In any case, for your support at home and here in person, we are truly grateful. Let's affirm together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. Thank you, God. Amen.
Stillness turns to silence when the whole world is quiet. I feel a loving light come shining through my life, and I feel grateful you're lighting up my life. My love divine light shine, and I feel grateful you're lighting up my life. My love divine light shine. Sometimes my heart may stumble in a world that's full of rubble. Sometimes our humanness will cause us to fall. Open up to spirit guidance, illuminating omnipresence, listening in the silence for spirit to call. And I feel grateful you're lighting up my life. My love divine light shine, and I feel grateful you're lighting up my life. My love divine light shine.
wonderful end to the service. You certainly brought it to a close. That's great. Let's see, where are we? Whether you're watching at home or whether you've gotten out of bed and come down here to be here, thank you. You are my spiritual family. I am grateful for you. We have a Thanksgiving Eve service. We do it the evening before. It's Wednesday at 7 p.m. And if you can't come down in person, we will be streaming, so please tune in. In fact, since we're streaming, will it be up the next day? We hope. It will be up shortly thereafter, and if you missed it, you can grab it, hopefully on Thanksgiving Day. Okay. In either case, have a wonderful Thanksgiving celebration, each and every one of you. Next Sunday, it'll be after Thanksgiving, but it'll be Thanksgiving weekend. I'm going to speak on life's fertilizer. You can take that so many different ways. You're just going to have to come and hear what I've got to say. Let's all rise and close off with our prayer of protection. Into the whole world, together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. God bless you all.